예, 그렇죠. 예, 최고의 포스를 보이고 있는 이 고강민 선수가 오늘 승리에 따낼 수 있을지. 자, 2세트 경기 중요한 매치.
3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you set 2 of KT versus Woongjin Stars. In this game, we have another decent matchup here. We have Light versus Hoejja. Woongjin bringing out their heavy hitters from the get-go. Unfortunately, Zero not getting it done in set 1. We have Light versus Hoejja here. Hoejja is looking a bit more focused than usual. I am not the biggest Hoejja fan, but Hoejja is playing for KT as the yellow Zerg at the 1 o'clock position. Light there taking his hands off the monitor, perhaps hoping to emulate Flash. He doesn't really even need to emulate Flash to crush Hoejja here. He is the red Terran at the 5 o'clock position, and Light possibly the second best, if not at the very least third best, certainly among the top 3, I would have to say, of versus Zerg Terran players. He is a master at the matchup, and he will probably crush Hoejja into oblivion without much of an issue here. Hoejja, poor Hoejja. Hoejja, hopefully he's picked up some sort of trick from Flash, you know. After losing to Flash maybe 100 times straight in practice, he's like, okay, these are all the Terran tricks that can be employed against me. This is what I have to do to stop it. That's pretty much the only chance Hoejja has to win in this game. Do something clever, or perhaps channel that one time, perhaps the 101st match he played against Flash, he somehow won, and that's what he needs to channel here, that sort of spirit. And, you know, lest this seems like some sort of exaggeration, people do say, according to what I read in interviews, at the KT practice house, you can play against Flash basically an entire day's worth of game, 20 games, and Flash will destroy you every single time, and you basically never win. That's how it feels to play against Flash in practice. Maybe not quite 100 games, but still pretty rough. Here's hoping that Hoejja managed to find something in those crushing practice sessions to channel his energy, do something productive here, and get KT up 2-0. That is what KT needs. And then they have Flash, that's like 3-0 up, and Woongjin is going to be in desperate straits here, it looks like. Now back to commentating this game, it is good to note that Hoejja has got it in the correct direction with his Overlord. He has seen what is going on here. It looks like he's sort of cleverly kept his Overlord a bit out of position. I imagine he saw that supply depot, and that's why he did not send the Overlord more in. And it looks like Hoejja is going to triple hatchery here before Pool. Bold maneuver by Hoejja. Very impressive here. He's put down a third hatchery here at that 11 o'clock position, which is cross map to Light. Light has gone for fast factory here, and Hoejja does not know this. This could actually be very bad for Light. I mean, very bad for Hoejja, rather. Light should be fine. Light has 2 SCVs on gas here. Unfortunately, I am not quite familiar with what exactly 2 SCVs on gas means. After Terran already put down the factory, I know if you only have 1 SCV on gas, that means you want to get command center. So I imagine this means you want some upgrades, and Light is going to spot perhaps this. No, Light is not going to spot that hidden hatchery there at the 11 o'clock. He is going to finally find Hoejja, looks like, with his scouting SCV. So I think Hoejja, if he can manage to kill that SCV before it gets into his base, or at least block it from getting to his mate, he may not be in such a bad position. He needs to do that. He's put down a creep colony, but I don't think he has any Zerglings or anything there on the ramp. That's what he needs to defend against this. Hoejja bringing his Overlord out, exposing it, and I don't think this is going to go too well for Hoejja here. Light's going to stop this. He knows that something is amiss here. Starport coming out from Light. What the hell is this? This can't possibly be the fantasy build. Why would he want to do that? Although I guess maybe his opinion of Hoejja is such that a sort of kooky build could destroy Hoejja. Perhaps that's the statement he wants to make here. Hydralist then here going down for Hoejja. This Overlord going to get a bit cut out of position. Hoejja really being bold there, venturing out. I think Light knows exactly what's going on. He's sent his Vulture there, cross maps position. I think that is the most likely position, of course, for the Zerg to put down another base, because it is the furthest away, and he's going to send that over there to disrupt mining, maybe kill some drones that have been morphed out, but he's going to be able to escape. No, he's put down the starport. He hasn't put down anything else in conjunction, and Light going to see this. So I don't know what's building from those. Hopefully Hydralist. That's what Hoejja needs. He's got some defense at his front, so that's good. Those are drones. Hoejja's pretty screwed. He'd be wise to cancel them if they were drones. Looks like Starport is, so this is not the fantasy build. They are Hydralists. Good job for Hoejja. He's actually done the correct maneuvers here to survive. Well done. So Hoejja is going to have, I think he's going to be in a good position now. It depends on whether he can fend off whatever Light is planning. Light is building a single Wraith, and he is upgrading something at his machine shop, I would imagine. Ultra Speed. Light is also putting down Bunker. He's also put down command center there. Hoejja massing up quite a few Hydralisks to defend his front now. He's got drones mining there at his third hatchery, so things are actually looking pretty good for Hoejja, I have to say. Light does have a single Wraith out. He's also putting out a control tower there. Oh, okay, that might be siege mode. Light also will have his command center up, but he is going to be much behind economically speaking. Light perhaps going to be able to kill this one Overlord out in the field, but not quite a good enough coup, and now Hoejja going to snipe this Vulture. Well done there. He's going to start bringing his Hydralisk out. I don't think they'll be able to do much against a tank and a bunker at the front, but Hoejja is in a good economic position, so I think he'll be satisfied. He is going for layer now, whereas Light here has the single Wraith he can use to spot, and ooh, that Wraith getting caught by the Hydralisk. Wraith barely surviving. It's critical that the Wraith does not go down, if only for the scouting information. He sees that for instance there is only one extractor mining gas, so he knows Hoejja probably is not quite planning for a massive quick needleless attack, for instance. Now Hoejja is in, I think he's in a good position. Interesting to note, Light has gone for cloaking research, so he wants to build some cloaked Wraiths, but only off one starport. This is sort of a haphazard-ish build from Light. He's not really focusing on anything here. I'm not sure where I agree with this. Diluting your efforts here would probably is generally not the way to go. There is something to be said about a balanced attack force, but early on in the game, I feel, and that Wraith getting picked off by a nice midfield Hydralisk snipe there. Well done by Hoejja. I think early on it is key to focus your efforts on one particular aspect. Either it's two-port Wraith with Cloak, which can devastate Zerg players, and Hoejja really saturating the drones there at that 11 o'clock base. And I don't know why Light is pushing out with these 5 Marines. He could get sniped here midfield by all those Hydralisks. Perhaps he just want to clear that Zerg lane. He also needs to re-land his barracks, lest Hoejja decide to use this opportunity to punish Light. Light could lose this game, but no, Light is going to land the barracks in time. Just scouting as if he's going to get picked off here. Looks like that's not going to bother Light too much. He does have Raves. He can use the scout. He's upgrading +1 attack, I imagine, at the engineering base. He's not put down any more barracks just yet. He's put down another barracks here, and he's got his science facility super early. So now he's going to build science vessels before, when he's building science vessels when he has 5 Marines, no medics, and a tank or two tanks and a few raids. That's it. I don't know. Light is playing a very bizarre game of StarCraft, I have to say. Here's hoping that he knows what he's going to, he's doing, rather, taking off an Overlord there with his Graves. That is nice. Looks like Hoejja actually might be in some trouble. He's gone for Hive way too quickly. He hasn't put down an evolution chamber or anything like that. And he's going to lose quite a few drones here, because with cloaking out and no speed overlords, this is actually going to be very devastating for Light. Hoejja perhaps being a bit overconfident, I have to say, going for that Hive too quickly. And now Hoejja is going to force Light back out of the main here, but Light with those cloaked Raves, I think is going to be able to do a significant amount of damage, because there's no evolution chamber for spore colonies, and now that Hive is finished. That is really, really fast Hive. This is an 8-minute, 40-second mark, and the Hive is already finished. I didn't think he would get it done that quickly. And now you can see Light starting to cause some serious havoc with these Raves, killing 3 Overlords, it looks like, and quite a few drones, half a dozen thus far, and he's going to do even more damage here at the natural. So Hoejja not really responding too well to this. He's going to lose yet another Overlord. Light playing very well with those few Raves, I have to say. Hoejja has opted to go for fast Defiler's mount here. I don't know why he hasn't put down. First of all, he should put down Evolution Chamber for the obvious reason of upgrading +1 Carapace at the very minimum. Usually Zerg put down 2, certainly by this point, to get +1 Carapace and +1 whatever else they want. Usually going to be a melee attack. And now Light really causing massive havoc with these Raves. He's also building up a good-sized infantry force. He's got science vessels out. Hoejja, I think, after his brilliant opening, wasn't quite prepared for this effort coming out by Light. I have to say, I was a bit surprised at how successful this attack is coming out from Light here. I figured Hoejja would have some more defenses in place, and now he's only getting down to Spire. I still don't see an evolution chamber. I don't know. Hoejja is not exactly in too good of a position anymore. Light has massed up all sorts of forces here. He's got +1 attack finish on his infantry. He's got 3 tanks, 2 science vessels. No Scourge out even to deal with those. Hoejja will have the Filers out, so the Filers with Swarm is going to allow him to hold his ground. Although losing, I mean, he must have lost somewhere close to almost 10 Overlords this game to Raves and the Marines and whatnot. That sort of nullifies a good deal of his economic advantage that he got. Light is pushing out with his significant army here in the middle of the map. Hoejja needs the Filers out with Swarm and Consume. He will be able to hold his ground for some time. He's also got quite a few Lurkers out, it looks like. So as long as Hoejja gets the critical tech units out and he does have the Filers, I heard Consume Radiate here going on that Filer. The Filer is going to be forced to put down a Swarm here in a forward position. Some Radiates going out on Lurkers. Now attack here coming in at the 11 o'clock. Those Raves still causing havoc. I don't know why Overlord speed hasn't been upgraded yet. Hoejja maybe has just forgotten about the Raves or something. These Raves going to fly into the main here. Massive battle here with Swarm out. I think Light is going to be forced back here. And these Raves still causing havoc. 1 Rave goes down, but 2 more Cloak, it looks like. Finish off that Overlord, and now they are immune to those Hydralisks on the ground. Hoejja being seriously pressured on both fronts here. Hoejja bringing some Overlords in to deal with those Raves here. And now Hoejja with Swarm is going to force Light back, but Light, he may lose a tank here. Not even that, it looks like. I don't think Light is going to be too bothered by this. Although now he somehow moves his units back against the Swarm Lurkers. Lurkers under the cover of Swarm. That was a very good move. So, again, Light is in a decent position. Hoejja does not have any sort of forces capable of threatening Light for now. But at the same time, Light can't really do much against these Defilers. Light is... You can consume an egg? I did not know that! Okay, that is news to me! That Defiler just consumed an egg. Surely veteran StarCraft players already knows this fact, but I was quite surprised by that. That is interesting fact, I have to say. That you can consume eggs. Surely you can't consume larva. That'd just be too cheap. And Zerg players would have done it by now, of course. But that is hilarious that you can consume egg. I know you can consume like Overlord and Scourge and other air units, but I didn't know you could consume an egg. That was amusing. But Filer is going to be able to hold out for now. Hoejja is going to be able to hold out for now with the 4th base up there at the 11 o'clock. It's not going to have too much of an issue, I feel. There are quite a few Scourge Morph, and these science vessels would be wise to back off for now. Now, these tanks sieging up in range of these Swarm Lurkers. Lurkers should probably move forward a bit to deal with these tanks. Second Swarm now, but Light has already unsieged his forces, and he's going to be able to pull back here. Hoejja not really able to do too much to the field army here with Light, and Light is going to be free to set up his 3rd base without much of an issue. He's actually built another command center in his base, it looks like, to flow over, perhaps at 6 o'clock. He's also put out expansion there at the 7 o'clock. So Light is going to be fine in terms of expansion. If he can get those 2 bases up mining, he'll be ahead even of Hoejja here. Hoejja now, if the evolution chamber is a bit late, could have done this earlier, I feel. So, one thing to note is, of course, Hoejja hasn't used too much of his gas. He's had to spend some on these Lurkers and these Defilers, and finally one of the tanks of Light's going down in the front. But he otherwise has been mostly building Zerglings. And again, Light doing what he can to siege up out here outside the 11 o'clock base. He's just not going to be able to do too much. That science vessel getting picked off by the Scourge here. Light's not going to be able to do too much until he masses up more science vessels, more tanks, or more, well, really one or the other, because Swarm can stop almost an infinite number of infantry with Lurkers under them. fire bats do nothing against mass lurkers. So it looks like there is a standoff here. Both players unable to achieve any sort of breakthrough. Light really not focusing too much on his science vessel production, it looks like. Light also, with that base at 6 o'clock, potentially vulnerable to attack here. Hoejja getting his lurkers irradiated, getting his sunken sieged up. Hoejja has sent some forces to attack that 6 o'clock base, and Light has nothing to defend. He's bringing out infantry now to deal with it. And those Zerglings gonna be picked off, it looks like. And at the Firelight getting sniped by the infantry, well done. Hoejja gonna be able to hold up in his base there at the 11 o'clock, but again, Light has put down an armory, so he wants to start perhaps transitioning to mech. Hoejja with +2 carapace upgrade. He must have surely had an evolution chamber earlier, otherwise he can't get his upgrades that quickly. Just wonder why he didn't put down like a spore colony at his base to deal with those raves. Anyway, Light is transitioning to more of a mech build, it looks like, at this point. And Hoejja morphing all sorts of lurkers, getting dropped here, it looks like. Again, Light not able to make any sort of breakthrough here at the 11 o'clock. This base has been under siege for some time now. But good defense, for the most part, by Hoejja with Swarm. Hoejja losing all those Scourge, that's not so good. Light gonna sneak some forces past this Swarm here and start killing a few drones. Massive drop here, potential incoming by Hoejja. Hoejja has moved his drop in the middle of the field. This is a disaster. He's going to get his drop caught here by a few medic marines and forced to drop in outside of Light's base. Is not going to bother Light at all. At the same time, his defenses finally breached there, it looks like, at the 11 o'clock natural. Hoejja is sending all sorts of forces there to try to reinforce now, and Hoja's counterattack getting caught out there, not going to amount to anything. So things not looking too good for Hoejja. Light is now safely mining off of 4 bases. Both players' naturals are perhaps running a bit dry here. But Light is going to be very comfortable on top of his bases. Hoejja either needs to expand or do some sort of counterattack right now. But Hoejja going to try to defend his base. Light's forces pushing, but not able to accomplish anything against all those reinforcing lurkers. And a small drop here trying to come in by Hoejja, but not able to accomplish much of anything either. And Hoejja has essentially been pushed back here at his 11 o'clock natural. He's going to lose his hatchery, so Light has finally achieved what he needs to get done here. And Hoejja in some trouble here. Hoejja, interesting to know, has spread a sort of sentry network of units on the field. I wonder what those are. Probably burrow lurkers or zerglings. I imagine maybe burrow zerglings. And those mines gonna kill all sorts of vultures in addition to the zerglings. Those are, well, one of these is a lurker. Light not paying attention to that. That lurker with 2 kills, possibly mech units, which would be a nice little coup there. Hoejja has put down another expansion there at the 12 o'clock is what he needs to do. And Light is quite content for now to push out with his mech army. It's not very big. He's only got perhaps half a dozen tanks and a few supporting Goliaths, but it should be sufficient to do some damage here. Hoejja going to come in with a massive Zergling attack. These tanks not going to be too effective against the Zerglings, unfortunately, and the tanks forced to back off here. Light has sniped that attempt to put down expansion at 12 o'clock, and Light going to be forced back his mech army, not really able to accomplish much of anything. I don't think Light cares too much, though. He's forced Hoejja down to 3 bases, and Light is mining off 4. That is a really bad position for the Zerg player. This attack here coming in by Hoejja not going to accomplish anything due to the presence of that bunker and those few marines there. Now, finally, Hoejja launching a massive breakout assault here at the naturals 11 o'clock. Gonna drive Light all the way back, kill most of the tanks, seriously damage the remaining 1. And Hoejja can finally reestablish that base that he needs. During all this time, though, Light has been busy massing up all sorts of forces. Hoejja's sentry lurkers here on the middle field, not quite too effective anymore. More irradiates going down by these science vessels, and I fear that Hoejja is in a bad position now. Even though he's managed to break out of his 11 o'clock base, Light has massed up forces to attack his natural, well-balanced assault force of tanks, vultures, and Goliaths. He's also got science vessels, although he hasn't put those in that position. Hoejja is coming in for a massive attack here to try to clear this out. Not quite able to get too much accomplished. He has managed to get some lurkers under swarm cover here, though. But Light at the same time has tried to sneak some vultures through. Light would be wise to either scan or withdraw his siege tanks here. He is withdrawing his forces, it looks like. So he should probably scan. Tanks still do splash damage under the swarm, of course. And now, with more good swarms, Hoejja is going to finally force Light back. But Light has brought his science vessels out. He is irradiating all sorts of units, so perhaps Light not going to be forced back. Hoejja massing up more Zerglings here. And Light now comfortably mining off 5 bases, where Hoejja is still really unable to saturate his base at the natural 11 o'clock. Things looking truly desperate for Hoejja here. I mean, sure, so many queens, that's what Hoejja needs to do to counter mech here. The thing is, Hoejja is not going to have too much of a presence on the ground. With good swarms, he can hold out his defenses for a long time against Terran. Even a strong mech army would take quite some time to successfully siege a swarmed up defense of the Zerg player. The thing is, he will be exhausted eventually. Light would be wise to emulate fantasy and research EMP on his science vessels and EMP those queens, which would absolutely devastate them, make them utterly worthless. So, and he has science vessels. I mean, build a few more science vessels on EMP queens for good measure. Science vessels is truly very useful against Zerg, able to employ perhaps the full range of their spells here. Those science vessels, maybe they're going in for the queens, I don't know. They might be going for a Razor Trick here. That would also be devastating. The Razor Trick looks like there is only one Scourge, not able to do too much, and these science vessels are going to utterly devastate this drone line, killing that science vessels with 9 kills. So many drones, that's got to be at least a dozen drones dead. Hoejja has managed to withdraw some of his drones, but the damage has been done. Even if these science vessels go down, it was plenty worth it. And Hoejja, truly his economy has seen better days. Light now has 2 mech armies, 1 siege out outside the 11 o'clock and 1 position outside the natural here, although not really in siege range. I don't know what Hoejja can do. Massive attack here coming in by Light at the natural expansion against all these Hydralisks. The Hydralisks do nothing against tanks, and now there's nothing left to defend. Light is pushing in with his mech forces. Hoejja desperately bringing queens perhaps to try to defend. Those queens do nothing against Goliaths. I don't know what Hoejja's doing. He's built so many queens during this time that he's neglected to build any other unit. It looks like he's perhaps got 20 queens here. He's spawning Bruling over all sorts of units, but he doesn't have anything to deal with vultures or the Goliaths. This is not looking good at all for Hoejja. I have to say he's going to lose his natural, and with that, surely, even if he cleans this force up with some great cloning of the spawn Brulings, it won't matter. Light's not going to be bothered by this at all. He's managed to kill a lot of buildings here at the natural. He's also counterattacking now at the 11 o'clock natural base, and there is not too much left for Hoejja in this position. He's got a few Hydralisks left. Great cloning of the Brulings. Again, I have to say, just not quite enough ground forces to get this done, and I feel Light is going to win this game and even the series up 1-1. Hoejja fighting hard, just not quite with the correct unit composition. GG coming from Hoejja. If he built half the number of queens and some more ground forces, he might yet be able to hold out. But again, Light would eventually win on his superior economy. Hoejja has not really launched one single attack against Light this entire game, despite his super aggressive economic opening. Anyway, going on to the next set.
특기 엔트리에 붙이면서 확실히 저그전에서 이전에 강력한 면모가 이번 경기에서 보여줬네요.
네, 맵 장악 능력이 너무나 뛰어났어요.
전 맵을 다 컨트롤하는 멀티태스킹 능력, 맵 장악 능력은 이전 선수가 정말 최고인 것 같습니다.